guys, how you doing? It's Alex coming at you from Southern California. I just got back from Chicago early this morning. My flight was delayed quite a bit, so I didn't get into California until 2 o'clock in the morning today, and kind of fighting off a cold. Um, just wanted to show the stuff that I found digging in Chicago. Haven't listened to most of it, but I think it's a good opportunity that I have to kind of make this video. So the first store that I visited was one that when I lived in Chicago for about 10 years was one of my favorites. Uh, it's Reckless Records. So, Reckless has stores in London, and then I think they still have the three in Chicago. This is the like the Chicago downtown loop, the Loop, which is the sort of the financial kind of commercial center of the city, where the elevated trains and some of that footage that I took from my last video was. That's where my hotel was. So this was just a few blocks. This store was just a few blocks from where I was staying. So I figured I'd stop in. It is a relatively small store, but I did find a couple of very nice records. First one being this one, Anthony Braxton on Delmark, 3 compositions of new jazz. Delmark label. I haven't looked to see if it's first pressing. Delmark can be a little bit, well, not too difficult. You have to look at the addresses, stuff. But yeah, I was recently looking at my Anthony Braxton collection, which is it's at least 15 records or so, and realizing that I didn't have really a lot of his early stuff, which I really have wanted. So really happy to find this one in the wild. So this one features Leroy Jenkins on violin and several other instruments, Leo Smith on trumpet and other percussion instruments, great Richard Abrams here on piano, cello, and alto, which is quite interesting. So I believe this is from '68. So early effort from him. This might be his first one, or sorry, I think the second one on the Delmark label. Yeah, beautiful copy of that one. The other one that I picked up at Reckless Records, this what's playing in the background here, is this one. It's a sort of a compilation on Horizon Records label. The record is sorry, I think Horizon is the name of the compilation, and the artist is Masahiro Sugaya. He is, as you guys can possibly hear, a minimalist electronic artist who was active starting in the early 80s. I think all of these compositions are from the late 80s, like 87, 88 timetable. Yeah, just had been on my want list. I was just curious when this came out, and had not really listened to it. But yeah, really wonderful, peaceful stuff. I think there's also some piano tracks that are maybe a little bit more like Sakamoto-esque things from the 80s. That was really cool. And last day I was there, wasn't sure I was gonna be able to get a chance to go to Dusty Groove Records, but I was able to spend a couple hours just based on how late my flight was and everything. So yeah, I was able to pick up quite a few records here. First one I'll show here is this one, Monochord, Esprit des Sels, which I believe is Spirits of the Salt, if my French is correct. This is a record I was not familiar with. Obviously the artwork really drew me in. I played a little bit of this. I've not listened to the whole thing yet. It's on this French electro band label. Um, it's sort of like a big band, sort of free jazz album. And it's almost like a European take on like a Henry Threadgill record. Um, it does have that the real bottom to it, primarily because there's some baritone saxophone here, some trombones also that give it a lot of heft. But yeah, check these dudes out. It's a fantastic gatefold. Really looking forward to digging into that one a little bit more. Not like a super rare record, but definitely not one that I'd ever seen shown before or even online or anything. Keeping with my obsession with Japanese things, I found this, which had been on my want list as well. And the thing about Dusty Groove is, they have an amazing selection of not just reissues of rare jazz and experimental music, but also of neo releases by artists that have been putting out music for 30, 40 years. In this case, Midori Takada, which I've talked about before, great Japanese percussionist here. I don't know too much about the saxophone player Kante Wan, but as the cover suggests, is a duo record. In the great tradition of the great avant-garde jazz, duo records. And this one really is a lot more in that tradition, although maybe a lot more sparse. And as far as I can tell, Takada is mostly playing more like traditional drums, like cymbals and drums, a little bit more. At least it sounds more like a traditional, jazz percussion or either drum kit than kind of what's shown in the picture here, which sort of typical marimbas. Now, I'll have to read more into this. I don't know exactly what her setup was for this, but yeah, if you like this kind of stuff, check it out. There was another one in this series that I almost picked up. Just too many things. I had to leave a lot of things behind. But yeah, the other one was a couple of other Japanese artists in a duo setting like that. This is one I was not familiar with, but I saw Mr. Carl Berger, the German vibes player, and Masahiko Sato, Japanese pianist, and it was pretty cheap. Covers a little beat, record's fine. It's an American pressing of the Enja. Originally, the Enja stuff is on German pressings, but yeah, definitely was not gonna leave that one behind. So this is a record I've been looking for a long time. I was really, really happy to find this one. This is Strokes Mookie Pookie Boo. Oh, sorry, Monkey Pookie Boo. It was from 1971, of course, on the BYG Schwell label. Fantastic cover art, of course, with the laminated, glossy cover. I know it's been shown a few times. This is Sonny Sharrock's wife. Linda Sharrock, who, I think most people are sort of polarized by this record, because of uh, her vocals. I think it's amazing. I think it fits perfectly with the intensity and chaos and beauty of Sunny's playing. Uh, yeah, just an incredible record. With a French rhythm section, Beb Gueram, and who's the other guy? And Jacques. So Beb Gueram on bass and Jacques Tholo on the drum kit. So those are guys that show up on a lot of the BYG actual sessions. So this is, I guess, looking at the label a little bit more closely now, and I wasn't sure if this was first pressing. So it's actually like a 71 pressing. The original was like 70, but I mean the record and the cover are pristine, so there's no chance I was gonna leave that one. A couple of blind buys. So this is a record by Daniel Schell. It's called If Windows They Have, and it's part of this Made to Measure series. It's volume 13. So this is like a Belgian artist, Daniel Schell. I think I know this painting. It's just, the cover's by Angel Vergara Santiago. I'm not familiar with that artist, but anyway, so this whole series is experimental stuff. Shell plays a number of different instruments. There's like 5 guys on there. There's clarinet, there's cello, percussion, there's keyboards. I've only sampled this a little bit, but yeah, it sounds really, really tasty. Yeah, really cool. This is one that I knew the label. It's the Seeds. It's like a private press thing. There's only like a handful of records that were, this Seeds out of Vineyard Haven, Massachusetts. So I know and maybe it was David Belson out in Boston that showed a couple of these records on the Seeds label. I don't know if this has ever been shown, and I've not played this yet. But I know that there's several records on this label that are excellent. One by a group called Beerwell, I believe, that are highly collectible and very good. So this was super cheap. I thought I'd take a flyer on it. On this Seeds label. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And we'll finish with before I get to the two reissues. Before I get to that one, so this is one that I think was just released on this alternative Fox label. I don't know what their deal is. I'm not sure if these are bootlegs or whatnot. But for $19, this is a 1971 live date with Alice, Pharaoh, Archie, Jimmy, Cecil McBee, Ed Blackwell, Jarvis on drums, and then we got a couple of a tambora and a harmonium player. They're performing, they're covering Africa by Coltrane. This is at Carnegie Hall, February 22nd, 1971. So almost 50 years ago now, which is amazing. And okay, so this is from a radio broadcast from on WQXR FM, and then it's pressed at 45 RPM. So I mean, I don't know, total no-brainer, and it's a pretty famous photo of her. Really love that. photograph them. You know, this sounds like crap. I mean, the cover one's worth it. So. All right, we'll finish with a couple of reissues. So this is one I've been had on my want list for quite a while. Never ran into this reissue. The originals are insanely rare. This is Dream Sequence. I don't remember now. I think it's Dream Sequence, the group. Yeah, and then Cosmic Eyes, the name of the record. So this is sort of as discovered here described here on the hype sticker. Psychedelic jazz from Britain, and features the amazing guitar playing of Harmonico da Silva. Don't recognize some of these other players, so there's some there's tabla and sitar here as well. Bass flute, alto flute. There's a ton of flutes. So I've sampled this online a few times. I've always been blown away by it. Actually, I haven't listened to this in quite a while, but yeah, this is absolute must-have in any jazz collection. Incredible cover art. Just this is on Roundtable. I don't know if I have anything on that repress label. Hopefully the quality of the repress is good. But yeah, incredible. And finally, Dusty Groove has a pretty nice reggae. It's not huge, but it's well curated. Reggae dub section. As I mentioned before, it's one of the genres that I really kind of want to explore a bit more in 2020. Total Blind Buy. Words in Dub. This is called. I believe this is from 79, I think. So this is on the Pressure Sounds reissue label. I think I have a couple things on that label. They do a really nice job. I did sample this in the store real briefly, and it sounded amazing. I played this all the way through today. Not disappointed at all. It was really the kind of sound that I really enjoy in dub, and I generally don't really like a lot of the roots reggae stuff. I really gravitate towards the psychedelic, really deep dub, heavy, heavily distorted and sort of more experimental sounds of some of these great 70s dub records. So yeah, this is like a super rare kind of obscure one. I'm not gonna read any of the names because they're not familiar to me. Me being a noob to the genre, they're not really gonna ring any bells for me. But yeah, this was like a pretty under $20 reissue. Really nicely done. Sounds great. Incredible music. Highly recommended if you like any of that stuff. So, and finally, it's ready to check out and see how much damage I'd done to my bank account. But of course, I saw the cover of this. I think a couple people have shown this on the VC. This is the new magazine. This is the first issue of publication called Maggot Brain. It's put out by Third Man Records, Jack White's record label. I mean, just flipping through it at the store, I mean, it was clear this is there's some pretty interesting articles here. Very nice photography. Definitely not your run-of-the-mill music magazine. Just very, very nicely done. And of course, you know, just for the fact that Alice Coltrane's on the cover, I was definitely gonna pick that up at some point. We'll see if I actually, continue to purchase these. So they're only gonna put out 4 of these a year. Um, but like I said, it's kind of a music and culture, magazine that I think was a nice pickup. So anyway, yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you have heard of any of these records or if you're curious about any of them. Thanks for a couple of you guys for hopping on to the percussion records thread, Sherv and Dave over at Local Mendography. Let me know if I've missed any others, and hopefully we see a couple more here in just a couple weeks. Everybody take care. Cheers.